Hey YouTube, welcome to another episode of Duel School. Today I'm going to take a look at the main and side deck of a pretty innovative deck that's based all around fairies.
You think you know me?
On this day, I see clearly everything has come to life. A better place in a broken dream, and we'll leave it all behind. On this day, it's so real to me. Everything has come to life. Not a chance.
To let you know what's in there and why. First off, I run 3 Harvest Angel of Wisdom, 1800 attacker. Whenever he dies by battle, I get back a counter trap from my graveyard back to my hand. I run 2 Mattel Sage of the Sky, 1600 attacker, and whenever a counter trap is activated, I gain 1000 life points, and if Sanctuary of the Sky is in play, I can destroy any card on the field. 2 Bountiful Artemis. Everyone knows if a counter trap is activated, I draw a card. 3 Nova Summoners, which basically are my battle searchers, along with a single copy of Shining Angel, all of which can get my Marshmallow, which is also a fairy. 3 Duel, which helps for the stall and defending. My only non-fairy monster, DD Warrior Lady, searchable by Shining Angel, and the kill switch of the deck, which is Medora. This card kind of fell out of favor back in the Chaos era, but in this deck it does pretty well, seeing that at any given time, about mid-game, I can have anywhere from 5 to 6 fairies in the graveyard, giving him about 25 to 2700 attack power, so that's a nice little level 4. My spells, I run 2 Sanctuary of the Sky. This is basically to help me not take as much damage as I normally would, and mostly to help Mattel get his secondary effect. So most of the time I hold that Sanctuary until I have the Mattel and a counter trap. Smash and Ground and Fissure are basically my spells to destroy monsters. 1 Book of Moon for protection, Swords of Revealing Light, again for protection. Heavy Storm and Mystical are my destruction cards, and Noblemen of Crossout for some more monster destruction. My traps, of course, Mirror Force and Torrential Tribute for their defensive capabilities. 3 Sekretsu Armor, again for more defense. Now for my counter traps, I run 3 Solemn Judgment, because obviously it stops anything. This card is gaining a lot of popularity right now. 3 Forest Backs, mainly for Monarchs and stuff like that in the first match. Normally I would side out if I'm going against Monarchs, a more dedicated Monarch deck, but the Forest Back works well against any deck, and that's why it's in the main deck instead of pulling the rug. And of course, what would a counter trap deck be without the newest card, Dark Bribe? Again, another counter trap. It gives your opponent a card, but it's proven to be a really good counter trap. So as far as that's concerned, that's my deck. The main point of the deck is to try to bombard my opponent with counter traps, rob their summon or their crucial cards, get back my counter traps so I can continue bombarding them with Solemn Judgments and stuff with Harvest, and then reap benefits from them by using Mattel and Bountiful Artemis to draw cards. Both of these cards work regardless of who activates the counter trap, so the more popular counter traps become is the better this deck will be because of those 2 cards. I can stall out pretty well thanks to my Sanctuary of the Sky, my 3 Nova Summoners, which can get the Marshmallow out quickly, and along with the Marshmallow and the 3 Duels, it gives me pretty much 4 Spirit Reapers, so I can stall out pretty long until I get enough cards in the graveyard for Medora to come out and get the win for me. This is my side deck, and I'll go into more detail on my side deck a little bit later, but just so you can see, I use 3 Pulling the Rugs, basically for Monarchs and the like, that Demise, OTK maybe, stuff like that. Radiant Mirror Force is something a lot of people haven't been using, but I use this mainly for zombies or any other deck that swarms the field a lot with a lot of monsters. So Radiant Mirror Force helps me at least gives me more defense as far as that's concerned. I try to keep as much fairies in the deck as possible, so I side deck the Breaker and the Snipe Hunter for burn and lockdown, stuff like that, so I can, if I need a bit more destruction, I decide into that. DD Crow is another zombie choice, or maybe Green Baboon, stuff like that. DDT, DD Crow helps me with that. Death Wombat, of course, for burn. I run 3 copies of those, protect me from that. Lightning Vortex, again, any swarm, as well as like 6 Samurai, stuff like that, just to get them off the field. And 1 Twister is also for burn, so for more destruction of magical trap cards. A long time ago, back in the Chaos era, a friend of mine introduced me to a new way of thinking when it comes to the side deck. He had a small notebook with different matchups written inside, and how he should side against them, much like this. I liked the idea so much, I incorporated it into this review, and it really helped me focus my side deck and helped me side for matches much faster. First, I would think of 3 or 4 different matchups I expect to see at the event. Just for an example, I'll be using Monarchs, Burn, 6 Samurai, and Zombies as they're somewhat popular right now. Then think about cards to counter these and the appropriate cards to take out of your main deck for these. My first example is Monarchs, and I want to make sure that the opponent never has a chance of resolving a Monarch, so that's why I side in 3 pulling the rugs. In this matchup, I feel Nobleman of Crossout isn't an important card, and having a set Sakuretsu armor while Rise is being summoned doesn't really help. So both of these go, as well as 1 copy of the Sanctuary in the Sky. Let's move to the Burn matchup. For this I add 3 Death Wombat for obvious reasons, and depending the type of burn deck, I add Breaker, Snipe Hunter, and Twister for more spell and trap destruction. Glendual takes a back seat since he's killed whenever I take damage, and Sakuretsu armor isn't needed here as well. The 6 Samurai deck strives on a lot of swarming, so I add 2 Lightning Vortex and 2 Radiant Mirror Force, hoping to catch them in the very common situation of them having 3 attacking monsters. Since the deck uses Yaichi almost every turn, Sanctuary in the Sky is taken out, as well as Nobleman. The 4th pick I wasn't so sure about, but I went with Force Back, because while it doesn't help at all once they have their field established, it still helps by stopping their first summon, which would lead to Grandmaster or the big guy. So taking out 1 will make sure that I don't draw it too often. Zombies are my last matchup, and I side in 2 copies of both the cards I would if I were playing against 6 Samurai, but I also add in 2 DD Crows to stop Book of Life, Ill Blood, and Zombie Master. Nobleman is taken out of the main deck, as well as both the Sanctuary in the Skies, since they're just too slow to deal with the zombie draw and summon power. Sakuretsu armor is also completely taken out, because the deck relies on its graveyard, and most of the time Sakuretsuing a zombie really doesn't matter. I'm hoping to catch them with either my Mirror Force, Torrential Tribute, or one of my Radiant Mirror Forces. So that's it. When playing a match, I don't have to dilly-dally against siding against it. I already know what's going in and what's coming out of my deck. Of course, this can change depending on the deck. Normally, if I'm playing a Monarch deck, I said I take out Nobleman of Crossout. But if I see my opponent's using 2 to 3 Gravekeeper Spies or something of the like, then obviously I keep it in. However, doing it this way leaves me the decision of only thinking of 1 card to take out of the fly, instead of all 3. So it's just a lot more organized way to deal with your side decking during matches. Well, there you have it, the Fits as Angels deck. Thanks for watching, and until next time, YouTube.